So Jen, I saw you posted in chat. Is that you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Can you tell? Can you, do you know anything more about that? Apparently, the devs are trying to fix it right now as we speak, as we were trying to stream their game.
Just if you go to the discussion in Steam, one of the devs posted that there's crashes and that they're working on it, and
Oh
they'll
my
post stuff.
god. Well,
Wow.
patch issues as we were trying to stream the game is
Highly ghost-like.
yeah, highly ghost related activity. That I think is paranormal. It's I mean it's definitionally paranormal, maybe not like
I am.
the nuanced definition of paranormal, but it is beyond normal.
We have officially experienced a true haunting. I think before, yes, a lot of the tech issues that we've had in the past. Not that there's been that many, but
Eh,
I
if you
that's
know
been
if you know where to
but-
look. If you know where to look.
Yeah, if you know where to look. That's been like technology. Clearly, we were configuring something. It's our cables, our coordination for audio, whatever. This is like independent of us, beyond our power. This has been taken completely out of our control and is therefore officially a haunted stream. So I'm proud that we've all gotten through this together.
This is hysterical.
But why don't
Me
we
too.
yeah, why don't we jump into Libby's like formal interview then, considering we can't really play any more Phasmaphobia, at least for a little bit, and maybe we can play after the interview, but we were gonna have her on early anyway. Might
Yeah.
as well jump into it.
Sure.
Yeah, Jin, you can stick around. You can hang up. You can.
Yeah, sorry.
You're here
that
now.
we didn't
Sorry,
play
we didn't
more.
get to play. Bubbles, you're over at you're at Daisy's house,
Yeah,
so like
Bubbles
it's fine.
is at my house, so we're just hanging out.
It's for a little while. It
Yeah.
was a short game, short and sweet.
Okay, maybe we should jump into this by starting a question of what did you notice in the brief little bit of chaos that you saw of the game
I like that question.
that is like similar to legend tripping or ghost stories or the context in which you might experience a ghost or a supernatural being?
That's a really good question. I love that
Okay.
question. And I would say that the game captures very well the atmosphere of a legend trip. It's usually in the dark. Usually people go out, although not always, but often for the best ones, you go out when it's dark and you can't see very well. And in Phasmophobia, you can't see very clearly what's in front of you. So
Yeah.
that's scary. And I had the impression I didn't see too much of the house, but in the part I saw, it looked kind of like a creepy, abandoned place with strange little nooks and crannies that you need flashlights, you need different tools to navigate your way around it. And if you do anything wrong, you're going to be in really bad shape. Kind of like in Hill House, Shirley Jackson's The
Yes.
Haunting of Hill House.
Yeah.
Yes.
You know, where the house is sentient, the house can get you if you don't do everything just right, and it's hard to see. In the middle of the night, you may hear sounds of things being dragged around near you, or little children laughing at you, and other scary stuff. Somehow, that's something you could think about. Why are ghosts of little children so scary? I've talked about that with my students. I'm not sure we've ever really figured it out completely, but there's something about little kids, as in Henry James' The Turn of the Screw,
Mhm.
where, they seem so innocent and yet so totally demonic and possessed by spirits of the dead
Is it
and
like
eager to get the adults.
the uncanniness of like proximity to death or something? Like it's quote unquote unnatural to die young and therefore to be a ghost or haunted is like proximity to death? I don't really
That's
know because they're
one
not.
good possibility. Yeah. Yeah, but it's an interestingly layered situation. Until relatively recently in history, it was not so unnatural for children to die because there was a high mortality rate for birth and for early childhood. And families sadly had to expect that they would lose. If you go to some early graveyards, You'll see there often, graves of children. It happened. It was terribly sad, but it wasn't as much of a shock as it is these days when such things happen. Because we have hospitals, we have all sorts of interventions to try to keep kids healthy. But back in the day, children would die, and then there was this idea that if a child haunted you, really, really serious things were going to happen. But Henry James had a big impact on ghost stories with The Turn of the Screw, which he heard as an oral story. So
Oh,
we
interesting.
folklorists can enjoy that. It came from the stream of oral tradition. Then he made it into something literary, which has now spawned all sorts of copycat books. I noticed that when I was just looking at Amazon, that there are all of these books that are like The Turn of the Screw. There's one by someone named Rebecca James called The Woman in the Mirror. She may have changed her name to be more like Henry, or maybe that is her actual name. But there was just something about those two eerie little kids that has crawled into the popular imagination and refuses to let go.
That's actually kind of fitting, because that leads right into the questions we have prepared for you. The way you
Okay.
answered that last question. So,
Good.
without further ado, let's get right into it.
hmm
Libby, let's what are some aspects about storytelling as a mode of transition for folklore that you just love?
Oh, what I love about storytelling is that, well, one of the things I love about storytelling is that each story is unique, and everybody has a chance to put their own heart and soul into the story. And then the stories can be retold and shared. And so we have the traditions of certain areas and individuals that are growing and changing over time.
Hmm.
And we never quite know where they're going to go next. And so, one of the things I like about storytelling is the uncertainty. When you're reading a book, it's always going to be the same. No matter, I open this book, and probably page 13 is going to say the same thing each time I open it. Though with all the ghosts around, who knows? But with oral storytelling, you may not. In fact, you always will not hear exactly the same thing. And that goes for stories that are told on the internet as well. 'Cause especially lately, we're all talking to each other more through electronic means than with each other. Some of the images are disappearing on my screen. Am I the only one this is happening to?
I think that Jen just left the chat and
Yeah,
then came back.
people are
So
dropping
you're
out of the
Oh,
you're
call.
good.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool then.
Really
You're good.
banished myself.
Okay, that's
You
fine.
banished yourself in Discord. That's
Oh
okay.
no.
No worries.
You've yeah, we have a state folklorist banishing herself. That is how haunted the stream is.
So haunted.
Oh gosh, yes.
I guess as a kind of follow up to that was storytelling your way into the other areas you studied, or were you into to legends or children's folklore first, and that kind of
Um,
convalesced
do
around
you mean it?
storytelling?
You mean in graduate school
Yeah,
or
yeah, in
more in
graduates.
research pattern?
It,
Oh yeah, sure.
both,
I'm
both.
happy to talk about. I came to graduate school planning to be an Africanist, if you
Mm.
can believe that.
Yeah, because you did your
Um,
Peace Corps in West Africa, right?
Yeah.
yeah. I had gotten a master's degree at Buffalo, and then I decided I got to know Lydia Fish, who was
Mm-hmm.
my first folklore teacher, wonderful person.
Mm-hmm.
And then I also there was a blizzard going on in Buffalo, and I wandered through the student union and saw a sign that said "Join the Peace Corps," and I thought that's what I should do. And so I went there, and had already gotten interested in going to folklore graduate school. And while I was there, I collected songs and stories and traditions. It was hard because there were 79 languages spoken in the country, and I only
Wow.
learned to speak little parts of two of them, and French, which I knew already, which is
Mm-hmm.
why they accepted me into the Peace Corps. So I was collecting a number of different kinds of tradition there. Came to Indiana and took courses in Bambara and some other things. But then a man that I got to know there, who was a visiting lecturer, said that he didn't think it was so appropriate for young white women to go into West African studies quite so much, because this was a time when the people of the country should be able to be the speakers for their own wisdom, their own knowledge. And I thought he was right that it really was not the best choice for me at that time. And so I chose to study children's folklore with Linda Dégh and John McDowell and some other wonderful professors. And because Linda Dégh was a legend specialist extraordinaire, that was how I began to look mainly at legends, and I've
Yeah.
stayed with them pretty much my whole research career, though I've also worked with children's games, with beliefs. I've written a number of articles on internet lore. I was there tracking YouTube back in the very earliest days that YouTube existed, and it's been fascinating. It's been a little paradoxical because, I'm not the perfect age to be studying. All of you are so much better at using the internet than I am. I push the wrong button when I'm trying to get the camera off, but I keep trying. I keep working really hard
Yeah.
at it. And when I look back at some of my own articles and books, I see, what I was writing about before has already changed so much. It used to be AOL Instant Messenger and some of these other things that aren't really in the center anymore. Gradually, social media became the big thing. And, so it's been so fascinating to work with not only legends on the internet, but also legend-related performances like levitation, for example. Light as a feather, stiff as a board. You all know about that, don't
Oh,
you?
yeah.
Totally.
Have you ever played it? Have you ever done it?
No.
Yes,
So-
on on
Yes.
like an indoor recess in second grade, and we got reprimanded.
You got in trouble.
We used to do it at sleepovers all the time, but Libby, remember that time we tried to do light as a feather, stiff as a board with Tim Lloyd?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Virginia, I know you know that because you helped to lift, and he was such a good sport about that. It must have felt a little strange to
Oh,
him to be levitated with all of the American and Chinese people watching. He was really great. Best trip ever. So I've worked a lot with ritual too, and the forms flow together. I think when thinking of yourself as being only a legend scholar or only a ritual scholar,
yeah.
that creates too many barriers. You don't
Yeah.
have to do that because those are artificial categories anyway.
Exactly.
Can I ask an added question to that?
Go
I'm not
for
sure
it.
what the list is next to it,
Of
but
course.
I guess I'm curious about being sort of like critical of the genre conventions or like the application of different genres. A lot of people seem to think that like digital folklore is something unique unto the internet. And I think that there are some things that are like that. But thinking about something like ritual, like the game we just played, is like mimicking ritual that we would experience in lots of different contexts. And I guess like in your work, do you see the same things happening offline as they do online, or do you experience like a dramatic difference between the two in terms of how people are encountering the supernatural?
Interesting thing to ask. I think in many ways the traditions stay conservative. People are perpetuating similar patterns. So, for example, with levitation, which we were just talking about, light as a feather, stiff as a board. First documentation we see of that in folklore is Iona and Peter Opie in 1959 writing about the diary of Samuel Pepys, where there's some little girls were reciting a verse in French about lifting somebody and bringing somebody back from the dead to be alive again. And this was during the time of the Great Plague in London.
Mm.
One thing I'm just dying to know is whether there have been more levitation games going on during this pandemic. And I know kids haven't been getting together in person as often, but some of this information is going to come out eventually. I
Oh,
think we're
yeah.
going to be knowing more over time.
Yes. be curious to put you in contact with Ruth Hazleton, who we
Yeah.
had on the stream before, who's doing Australian COVID children's lore.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like a totally different context, but I would be curious what she would have to say, just considering she's focusing like on kids games during the
During the
pandemic.
pandemic in
And
Australia. Yeah.
it's different. Yeah, it's different in Australia, the experience of like COVID lockdowns and stuff, but
Right.
I don't know. I feel like there's a connection we could make here. I would be curious to see if she's
definitely.
like sees levitation stuff too or not, but
Yeah, I'm excited about learning more about that. I'm in touch with some of my friends have kids and grandchildren, and
Mhm.
I've learned from them some of the games that, but a lot of them have just been at home with their siblings for a really long
Yeah.
time, and
Yeah.
you know, doing Amazon watch parties and things like that. And
Mhm.
yeah.
around our
Discord
neighborhood
Discord
here,
parties.
yeah, just whatever kind of parties the kids here, even during the height of the pandemic, they would go outside and they'd run around in the streets. And so there was still play going on, but it was quieter. Our neighborhood feels a lot better now.
Mhm.
It feels like we're not so worried, and we're celebrating summer more. And thank goodness it feels much better. I write a column for the International Journal of Play, and so I've been chronicling some of the play of the pandemic in a small way over the last 3 columns. And now it feels like we're pulling out of that, and we can talk about other things, which
Yeah.
is good.
Well, that's interesting that you phrased it. Talk about other things, because I actually want to keep talking about your work with children's folklore a little bit.
Oh,
For this
I
next
didn't mean
question.
we should stop talking about that here.
No,
I
I'm
just
being
meant in general. Sorry.
I'm being sarcastic. I'm being sarcastic.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
So, something I think that comes up a lot with like scholarship of children's folklore is how like morbid or like disgusting it can sometimes be. In your opinion, why does children's folklore sometimes get like extra morbid or extra gross sometimes?
Oh, great thought. Yeah. Like Josepha Sherman's book, Greasy, Grimy, Gopher Guts, she makes the point that children just love being subversive. And hey, I remember being a kid and loving doing that kind of thing, being our school's elementary school song and turning it into something really disgusting and inappropriate that the teachers would have absolutely hated had they ever heard it, which I doubt they ever did. Kids are, kids do have power in their own way, but they are not fully in charge of their lives.
Hmm.
And folklore gives them a chance to assert themselves and speak out and try to thwart the rules against dangerous, disgusting things that parents would rather they stayed away from. And I have put some of the energy of research efforts I've made into trying to understand the dark side of childhood.
Mhm.
Why kids, for example, in some cases enjoy experimenting with something really dangerous like choking games. Choking games are they've
Yeah.
had terrible consequences, and goodness, they're so dangerous. But there have many children and adolescents have felt fascinated by them and just wanted to pick up the challenge. And when you're a kid, you may have, as I keenly remember feeling, a sense of being immortal.
Yeah.
Remember that? Those kids may have problems, but not me. Luckily, I never will. I'll always be fine. And it's such a great feeling to know that you're safe from all that stuff. And so, playing a game such as I played when I was about 8 years old, lying down in the street, we'd lie down on this Navy base. We were all living in Japan, and we would just lie there until the car was pretty close to us and then get up and run away laughing. And boy, I'm so glad that none of the kids around Vestal, New York play that game, because that's horrific for motorists and
Yeah.
it could
Yeah.
kill somebody. But for us, that just felt like a great thing to do. It was just so much fun, and we knew we were fine. We were fast, and we knew exactly when to get up and run away. And we had baby aspirin eating contests and other things like that.
The
It
guy
was
in my
fun.
grade who taught us all the choking games, I believe he joined the Marines. I don't know
Oh
if
my
there's a
gosh.
connection there, but
Having Fung in the chat says that that she also participated in choking games, but didn't know that other people did.
Yeah, I distinctly
Oh
remember
my.
choking games. I think it was like 5th or 6th grade. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah, they're kind of a contraband subject, aren't they? People
Mhm.
aren't always feeling okay about because they're dangerous and they're secret. You tend to talk
Yeah.
about them with close friends, but you know, come home from a sleepover and say, "Oh, hey, mom and dad, we just played a choking game." And your parents will never. Your parents won't let you out of the house again for another year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
or they'll not understand. Yeah, like they'll think that somebody, like an adult, was choking you or something. Because why would another kid do
yeah,
it to you or whatever? Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, they just don't understand.
Oh my
Um,
gosh. Yeah,
I used
people
to
have
play.
experienced some
Yeah,
tragedy because of choking games.
Yeah, a lot of
children
people
have
talking
died.
about choking
Yeah.
games
Yeah,
after you mentioned it in
yeah,
the chat. Yeah, it's a hot
Mhm,
yeah,
topic. Yeah.
mhm.
yeah.
It can be very, very, very dangerous, have tragic
Yeah,
consequences.
I see that.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I played something my best friend and I called it the game of smother. And the goal of the game was
Oh,
to try to smother her brother, Jeffrey,
oh no!
until
Jeffrey.
until we heard this little voice saying, "Let me out." And so we just
Oh
keep piling quilts and pillows and old clothes over Jeffrey, this poor little kid. And finally he would crawl. He always survived, and we just thought it was fun and we knew it would be fine. But the game of that was just something we did when we were bored. So I do understand, you know, it's a kind of fascination of, you know, the analytical categories, breath control games,
Yeah.
because breath, it's the basis of life. And so kids, in a way, have very profound curiosity and wanting to understand life
I
and
think
see
I think that
what
is what
happens
the
with
the
it.
blue whale challenge that came up in chat. I think that's a
Yes.
yeah.
yeah.
Yes.
Right?
I was thinking, like, speaking of games about control, like, Death Florist wants to know if you could speak a little bit to the Blue Whale Challenge that popped up recently.
Hmm.
Or I should say recently, in
Oh,
the last, like, 3 years.
Yeah.
sure. I could, if I could just take a moment to plug or mention. This book just came out, Andrew Peck
Yeah.
Yes.
Little higher. There you
and
go. There you
Trevor
go. There you
Blank.
go. There you go.
Folklore
Yes.
and social media, it contains a lot of really fascinating stuff. My Blue Whale article is in there, and
Hmm.
it represents a year of research that I did when Trevor Blank asked me if I would like to try to figure out what was going on with the blue whale,
Yeah.
which is essentially the idea that nasty people are trying to get vulnerable teenagers to agree to fulfill certain dangerous challenges, starting with pretty mild things and culminating in jumping off a building, you know, just really, really awful. But it became a kind of rumor panic,
Mm.
like the satanic panic that started in the 80s,
Yep.
because people became afraid that there were, particularly with worry about Russian bots, people were afraid that the Russians had sent bots out to try to corrupt teenagers and get them to take their lives. And so it's very interesting to, you know, it had all of the earmarks of a moral panic. And so others and I, you know, looking at these rumors, thought, oh, yeah, it's got to be a moral panic. But how do you test this thing out? Well, the way it was finally proven was that young Russian folklorists infiltrated groups of people, including groups of teenagers who were talking about Blue Whale Challenge, and they discovered that these rumors and tasks were being spread by kids, by
Hmm.
teenagers who just wanted to cause some trouble. They weren't circulated by evil adults or by others who were deliberately trying to ruin the lives of teenagers. It was more bullying by older kids, of younger kids who were uncertain and were looking for guidance from kids who were older. And so they did something that was a very interesting method, and it did have results that confirmed the suspicions that a number of us had. And so
Mm.
that it was great when they came up with that information. I love your cat, Virginia.
I know.
What's your cat? What's your cat's name?
The stream can't see, but
For now.
it,
You
For
can't see, but
now.
My cat keeps moving in front of the
Like
screen.
running right across the screen in front of his
Aw.
camera.
Come back,
It's so
come
cute.
back, darling.
Yeah, wait.
Where are you?
Come back. Where's the cat? You are on screen now.
She's gone now that I'm on screen.
Ah.
Her name, fun fact, is Louise for Louise Pound, who is a Nebraska folklorist and
Yeah.
That's right.
also
Oh, how wonderful. That's great.
Louise Pound is great because she also did a bunch of zine stuff and then was an Olympic tennis player.
That's right.
She was
Really?
like a crazy star.
Yeah,
player.
that was like the final Jeopardy at AFS Trivia one year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, bits for cat, Death Flores. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I just put the
I think
any references being made. I'm trying to be really on it with the references today.
I
So
think I'm gonna
Louise Pound in there.
I think I'm gonna go to the next question, but I just want to say for the record, if I named a cat after a folklorist, he would be named Percival Chubb. Anyway,
Love it.
I just think it'd be a good name for a cat. Oh,
It would. It'd have to be a fat cat, though.
oh, of course. Yeah.
Yes.
There's quite a few folklorists who've named their cats after cats. Like I think Erica Brady had a cat named after Kittredge.
Oh,
I know that Sydney, my friend Sydney, has a cat named Bess Lomax Paws.
mm-hmm.
Aw.
Best Lomax Paws. What a great name.
Anne Farrell's cat's name is Elsie Claus Parsons.
Oh,
So yeah,
nice.
there
Love it.
was Louise. She just ran.
Oh, you're not on screen anymore. Oh, damn.
I know. It's okay. She's fleeting, like a ghost.
Well, oh my gosh, this is already a haunted stream. We can't add cats to the mix. You know what cats do?
Oh, maybe.
Oh, yes.
Wait,
We all
is your
know
cat
that
is your cat black?
No.
Okay, I was gonna say, well, maybe that's the reason the game is haunted. Libby, part of the reason we love you at Folkwise, and part of the reason you're here on the stream, and I think you're on a Twitch show in the first place, is your like uncanny ability to connect and mentor early career folklorists. What do you think
Ew.
are best practices for advancing the field of folklore via mentorship?
Oh, that's what a good question to
As
ask.
always,
I
thank the
really
sleuths.
Yes.
appreciate you all coming up with that one. I think that's awfully important. And every now and then when I get a chance at the American Folklore Society meetings, I like to put in a good word for mentorship. But it's not just me, a number of people are thinking about ways to encourage older folklorists to network with younger folklorists and suggest pathways of professional development and ideas. But also, it's very important for older folklorists to learn from younger ones, which I have enjoyed so much doing. All of you are brilliant and have so many projects going on that have really enriched my life to learn about. So I think, and in a way, the pandemic has helped with that, I think, because,
I'd say.
or at least for me, with Folklore Thursday, I've gone to many of those. I've loved them all. And, if we were all out doing our usual frantic whirl of academic and other activities, would we be spending quite so much time talking to each other online? Maybe we would. I don't know, but maybe that has helped because it's so important to learn from each other. I know when I think back to my past as a folklore student and then a folklore researcher, I have such shining memories of the people who took the time to talk with me and to share thoughts. Like Herbert Halpert, for example. I didn't see him very often, but he sent me a couple of big brown envelopes with material he thought I might like. It was, and then Louis Jones in New York State. He just talked to me about his life and shared things that he'd done. And of course, Linda Dégh was the professor I was closest to, and I learned a lot from her. And many others. I was very lucky to have had contact with them. So any kind of activities that we can do for, let's say, reciprocal mentoring, not just of the young by the older, but also of the older by the younger, is a really good thing.
Well, speaking of reciprocal engagement,
Yes.
in an interview I saw that you gave with the University Press of Colorado, you mentioned your dream panel would be on the intersections between public and academic folklorists regarding community engagement. So, well, what do you envision in regards to how folklorists can work together to build programs and projects that help people of diverse backgrounds appreciate each other's traditions?
Oh, wow, that is a big question, and I'd totally forgotten I'd even said that, so thanks
It's a,
for
it is a
Thanks,
big
sleuths!
question.
Sleuths!
Yes.
yeah. Glad to be reminded of that. Yeah, I think, frankly, it sometimes is not easy for academic and public folklorists to talk with each other because the areas of emphasis are different and the challenges are different. I've done some public folklore, but really to a very large extent, academic
Mhm.
folklore. And I think academic folklorists sometimes tend to be more sheltered and less actively engaged in the community. So now in New York State, I think we're lucky that we have Ellen McHale, who is a
Yeah.
wonderful person in charge of the New York Folklore Society, and she pulls everybody together. She and I got together and wrote our book about New York State folk life. We spent a few years doing that and putting together some of the more interesting pieces that had appeared in Voices, the Journal of New York Folklore, plus some other ones.
Hmm.
And Ellen and I were old friends, so it was easy for us to work together.
Yeah.
Um, but we tried in that book to just to it, bring together the ideas that academic folklorists had come up with in earlier times, but also the practice that has made public folklore such a vibrant area in really in the years since I came out of graduate school in 1977, which is a heck of a long time ago. The whole field of public folklore has blossomed during that time. So yes, it's definitely one of my dreams to see academic and public folklore continue to thrive together and to learn from each other and to be comfortable in talking with each other. I think the folklore has shifted a little bit because there used to be somewhat more PhD programs and somewhat more academic jobs, and now public folklore is so much at the center of the more interesting jobs that are available to
Hmm.
young people coming out these days.
And
We
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
I just get excited about how dynamic a lot of the public folklore jobs are,
Yeah.
where
Mhm.
like academic jobs have different things that you're doing, but it's all within the same like wheelhouse. There's so much more like
Mhm.
creativity and freedom that I think you can have in public humanities jobs. That's really exciting to me as a person who's will be pursuing a career outside of academia.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes. Vibrant and full of discovery.
Yeah.
When you go to teach classes, the structure I think is more predictable. But when you're out organizing programs and working politically and getting to know, for example, indigenous people in the state of New York and other states that have a large indigenous presence, um, you can learn so much about what has happened historically and what is happening now, and you can bring it to life.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
My favorite comment from that answer in chat, Luomi said, "Academic and public folklore, two wings, one bird."
Ah, nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's exactly what we need to see.
Yeah, and
I'll
you know,
remember
and
that.
definitionally, a bird can't fly like in a fixed path if the wings aren't flapping like at the same pace. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
I mean, I like this question because it's great for the world, but it's also great for us, the people who are like working in Folkwise, because we hope that we're
We
creating a
hope we're
space.
doing that. Yeah, and I
We
also
hope that
saw
we're bringing this world together.
last week's guest, Kathleen Kuo from Nevada Humanities, also in
Yeah.
chat said, "Oh, hey, my work." Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
definitely it's a vibe. There's definitely a mood all over trying to answer this question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
and
That's very, very exciting to see.
I'm sorry. A lot of people are pointing this out in chat. Birds aren't real. Yes, I forgot everyone. Birds aren't real.
I don't know.
They were
I don't know if
invented. They
people
were
are
invented in 1984. Yes. I don't know, Libby. I don't know if you've heard that. That
conspiracy or
internet
not,
folklore.
but
Yeah, that parody of
Is that a
conspiracies.
conspiracy?
It's like a parody of
That's not
conspiracies. Ronald Reagan invented birds. Yeah.
to
that's
spy
not
on
related
the
to the
public.
book 1984, is it?
No.
Ah!
Maybe. Now that I think about it.
Could be.
I
Could be. Indirectly.
indirectly.
Ah,
Libby,
okay.
I have some fun questions for you. First off, I know that your
Great.
dissertation you worked with Girl Scouts, but I
Yeah.
have to know, what's your favorite Girl Scout cookie?
Oh, Thin Mints.
Thin Mints. Okay.
Yes.
I mean, I
The
can't get
yours
enough of
too?
it.
Yeah.
What do you put them in the fridge? The freezer?
Freezer.
I always put them in the
Freezer.
freezer.
Yeah.
That's the folklore thing to do with them. You're not sold to do it that way, but that's the good stuff. You put them in the freezer. Okay, anyway.
Daisy,
I
what's
just
your
had to
are
get
Thin Mints
excited
your
about
favorite,
that.
Daisy? Are they your favorite?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay. Mine
I
by far is Tagalongs, but I think Thin Mints are strong
okay,
number 2.
tagalongs are great.
They're really good
I
too.
my
Tagalongs
mom
is-
loves the
Oh,
oh
sorry.
tagalongs.
I was gonna say I
Tagalongs
think
are really good.
Tagalongs is one that has different names in different regions. By the way,
Most of them have different
Whoa,
names in different regions, right?
not all of them.
Not
but
all
a
of them,
lot.
but a lot of them. Yeah, I remember seeing this map. Yeah.
Mhm.
Tagalongs are peanut butter patties on the West Coast, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't
There's
remember.
we got a Samoa squad in the chat. Is that the one with coconut?
That's the
My mom really
toasted
likes
coconut
those.
one. That's my
Yeah,
if I had to pick a number 3, that's my strong number 3. Yeah. Yeah, Rebecca points out there's 2 bakeries. So the 2 bakeries that supply the Girl Scouts use different names.
Huh.
Huh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Did you know there are millions of Girl Scout cookies that didn't get sold because of the pandemic?
No, I need to help.
We all need to do our part. We need to save the Girl Scouts by eating more Thin Mints and
Well-
Tagalongs and other cookies.
I'll buy them full price. I don't care if they're old. I'll eat them.
I think they're still fine. They're not expired or anything. And the
Okay.
poor kids, because they had so much of a focus on going door to door, they couldn't do that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Or like at offices.
Or in the
Yeah.
as you leave the supermarket, which is where I'm normally tempted to buy them.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, it looks like they have a virtual cookie booth. Okay, I'm putting the link to this in the chat for folks who really want
I
cookies
really
now.
want, yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
let's
I need some
go.
Tagalongs in my life, yeah.
How to buy. They have a virtual room where you can buy cookies. You can also text cookies to 59618. In case you were wondering.
Fantastic.
Wow.
Text cookies to 59618. We are not sponsored by Girl Scouts. This is something I'm reading straight from their website.
We're weirdly
That
sponsored
is
by
so
the Girl
good.
Guides in the UK for whatever reason.
Yeah,
For whatever
for
reason,
whatever
they got to us first.
There are probably going to be memes coming from this too, don't you think?
I hope so.
I've
That's
seen the number of
that's kind of
clips.
the
I've
hope.
seen the number of clips so far. I'm a little concerned.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
Libby, you mentioned earlier one of your professors was Linda Dégh, and if there's one thing I
Right.
know about folklorists, everyone who had Linda Dégh as professor has a go-to Linda Dégh story. What is your
Oh,
go-to
I
Linda
mean-
Dégh story?
Oh, I have a multi-generational one too.
Oh my God.
Oh,
Yeah.
why don't you tell
yeah.
yours first, Daisy?
Tell yours, Daisy.
Yeah, I
Okay,
wanna
well
hear yours.
mine. So I think that this is the order. I think it was Linda Dégh told Diane Goldstein, who told Lynn McNeil, who told me. I think this is the order.
Legacy.
I think this is the legacy order. That when you're writing your master's thesis, you have to just write it, and it's gonna be terrible. So that way you can write something better later. So don't get hung up on perfecting your master's thesis to have every single detail of it perfect, publishable in that moment, because you're going to write something better later, and you just have to do the big project to practice doing the big project.
Huh.
I think that was translated to me in a nicer way. Maybe by Lynn. I'm not really sure, but
Yeah.
the text of it was you have to write your master's thesis and get it done so you can write better stuff later, because it's gonna suck. So just keep moving on with it. So that's my like, yeah, and it is good advice. It made me feel very comfortable with turning in an okay master's thesis that I've now converted into an article that's getting published, because you just have to get it
Great.
done to get the letters. So it was a great
That's
advice.
wonderful.
Yeah.
That's my
Great.
like multi-generational folklore knowledge from Linda Dégh, apparently.
This
I think.
reminds me of
This is a
my
legend now.
that reminds me of my high
Love
school
that.
theater
I've heard-
director, Mrs. Sanders.
Yeah.
If we messed up at dress rehearsal, she'd be like, "You're not messing up. You're getting the kinks out at dress rehearsal. It just means you're not messing up tomorrow." Yeah.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
And that is definitely a legend of sorts now, because I've heard
Yeah.
that
Okay.
not
Yeah, I
from
think
that string of people.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I
You've heard it
think it's-
outside of the lineage. Outside of the lineage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
And I
to me,
should.
it makes it better.
Okay. Yeah, knowing that it has a much larger context. It also is an entire subdivision of college composition teaching theory.
Yeah.
Peter Elbow,
Right.
the famous composition scholar, you said it's okay to say bad words on this
Yes.
stream, so this isn't too bad of a one, but Peter Elbow taught his students that they should do what he called crap writing. You should just get out all the crap, just start writing and write all this stuff. And then after, when you had a bunch of pages of that, you look back at it and then you figured out what you were actually trying to say, and you made something wonderful
Yeah.
out of it.
Yes.
It's the way I write.
Yeah.
Yeah. I told one of my classes about that years and years ago, and there was a very conservative student in the class who came up to me afterwards just seething, furious, and he said, "I am very shocked that you use the C word in this class.
That's the
and
C
I'm
word?
thinking of reporting
Oh,
you to
yeah.
the
Crap.
dean."
That's crap.
And he threatened to report me to the dean. And I said, "Well, it's in a composition textbook.
Yeah.
You have the title and the
Yeah,
author.
okay.
Just check. It was not my original creation." He's
I've
got
said
very
so
upset
much
about it.
worse during jokes and riddles week. Oh my god.
Oh,
Mhm.
I
So
know.
that is to say, I'm not gonna allow you to not tell a Linda Dégh story. You got to tell us yours though.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. Thank you for asking me about that. I actually, I could, if anybody who wants to see some of the best Linda Dégh stories, you could read an article by my friend Janet Langlois, who passed away last month. She wrote a really wonderful obituary of Linda for Contemporary Legend, the journal. And she wrote all the funniest stories about Linda. But I think the one that I would tell is not so much one of the funniest, but just meaningful to me, because Linda was such a demanding teacher. Janet got to Indiana a few years before I did, and she said that when she was in Linda Dégh's class at that time, Linda expected that her students would stand up when she entered the room out of respect. And she assigned them books in French and German and even Hungarian, because she expected they would know all these languages. And if they didn't, they'd better just pick them up and learn them fast. But anyway, the short Linda Dégh story I'd tell about myself is that she was a really wonderful dissertation director, but always pretty demanding. And I had gotten my job at Binghampton, and I went to see her to tell her that I was ready to defend in a month and I was going to go start my job. And my dissertation was all done, and I was so glad. And that it was being typed now. And she said, "Libby, I have just decided that you need to add a 200-page appendix to this dissertation. It's not done unless you do a whole appendix, which must thoroughly document everything there and include also sources in different languages." And so I left just so upset. I said, "Of course, yes, I'll do it." It made me really, really upset. But she was absolutely right. And I'm glad I did it. And so I guess if that story has a moral, it's that sometimes things can get upsetting and difficult, but it can be good for you in the end, at least in that case.
You know, I at first was shocked by that story. Then I remember what Linda Dégh books look like, and I'm like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense that you had a big appendix.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I made it like halfway through Legend and Belief, and then just like chose the parts that were the most relevant to what I'm writing
Yeah.
Self-report.
for that. Yeah, sorry, I didn't read the 500-page text in full. I read about half of it.
Very
It's on my
long
list.
book.
It's on my list to finish, but
And
yeah.
also, Wasteland Shaman took the words right out of my mouth, because Who casually picks up Hungarian? That's a Herculean
Yeah.
task. Yeah.
Yes.
I
They-
know
they
one
said-
one statement in Hungarian. It's kutya yo, which means good dog. Linda had a number of dogs, and I was
Ah.
one of the students who was invited to help take care of
Aw.
them. They were very sweet dogs. So I could say
Linda-
kutya yo with just the right intonation. Oh, there's your dog.
Oh, there's a dog.
Wonderful.
on street.
Dog cam,
Oh,
dog cam.
kutya yo.
I've gotta say, Linda Dégh being a dog lady makes a lot of sense to me.
She
I
loved
get it.
her dog.
I get it.
And she had a cat too, a cat named Midnight.
Midnight.
Aw,
Oh, I love that.
Midnight is
Yeah,
a cool
black.
cat name.
That's
As
a
you
great
might
name.
guess. Yes.
Aw, dog cam.
Dog
Wait,
cam.
Jen, what's your dog's name?
We.
Oh my God!
Are you
Dog
eating
is
your
eating-
microphone?
Eating the
Yes.
actual microphone.
That is too
His
funny.
name is Harry.
Harry.
Aw.
Oh my
Harry.
Because
God.
he's a hairy dog.
Oh my
Aw.
God.
That was his
Beautiful.
foster name, and I just kept it. So.
Aw. That's.
It's
Wow.
good to meet him.
I was about to say,
Aw.
we have a tradition of bits for cute dog moments. What's happening, people?
Aw, Death Florist gave us some
Thank you,
bits
Death
for
Florist.
dogs. Thank you.
Oh my God.
Wow.
So cute.
Aw, good doggo.
You said good dog in Hungarian, so I had to pull him up.
Oh, of
Kutya
course.
yo.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
But that's it.
Amazing.
No more Hungarian, except for goulash.
That's
an
it.
English word.
well, I guess I can ask another. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, the dog party once again on stream. It always happens. I have another kind of language question. This is okay.
Mhm.
I'm just gonna go mask off with this. One of our sleuths noticed. She said she noticed this last year on your Facebook, and she could not Google it. Like the search terms wouldn't pop up. It was just giving people's names. You once referred to a robin storm, and you said it's
Oh.
something your Mainer grandfather would have used. What is a robin storm? Because that just brings up people named Robin Storm, and when you Google it, what's a robin storm? What's your other? What are some other New England vernacular that you love?
Oh, sure. Yeah. Thanks for noticing that. My mother's family all come from Maine,
Uh-huh.
and there's a big reunion of the family happening July 4th. I can't go this year, but all the older relatives were. I think one reason I became a folklorist was that they had their own language for things that were going on. A robin storm means a late spring storm, so you've got snow piling up in the streets, but you've got robins hopping around too. And so it's a hopeful term that reminds you that even though you're freezing and you're shoveling,
Okay.
all these robins that are flying around, and pretty soon the snow's going to be gone and it's fine. It's really spring, which it's a pretty apt term for New York because we had a 41-inch snowstorm last December, and
Yeah.
more cold and icy weather than we've seen for a while, which of course was a lovely combination with all the pandemic worries. Just
Yeah.
quite a
You're not going anywhere
quite a
anyway.
snow-cone summer.
I guess.
No, we aren't going anywhere.
I guess Rob. I once you described it, I immediately know what a robin storm is, because growing up right on Lake Erie, it was just every 4 or 5 Easters we would have one like that. We would just have a big
Great.
snowstorm on Easter. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah. And I've taken pictures of the Easter egg trees that I make out in our front yard with colored plastic eggs covered with snow, because half the time you make this Easter tree and then a freak snowstorm shows up and there's snow all over the tops of them. And it makes a good picture to post on Instagram or
Yeah.
Facebook or something else.
I'm trying to be conscious of the time, Daisy. Do we have any other questions for Libby before I get her tier list up?
Not that I explicitly gathered, but
Okay.
I'm happy to ask more questions.
Oh, I got one more question I can ask too
Okay.
while we're getting this set up that I think
I've
we can
also
kinda
have-
riff on.
I also have a Phasmaphobia update for us after this question.
Sure. I guess one more question, just because this is the kind of thing people in chat seem to love when we have during the interview portion. What's a fieldwork experience, like a positive fieldwork experience that stands out in your memory?
Oh, that's another really good question. Oh, there have been a lot of positive field work, like things that have happened to me. But what pops into my head as you ask that is working with my Girl Scout troop back when I was doing my dissertation at Indiana
Mm-hmm.
University, and I was the troop leader. That was how I did the research
Yeah.
with the consent of everybody that I was working with then. And after a while, I noticed that a lot of the girls were excusing themselves to go to the bathroom, and it seemed like they just were going to the bathroom way more often than usual. And so I finally asked one of them, "Hey, why are you going to the bathroom so often?" And she said, "Oh, well, I didn't think I'd tell you, but see, there's this wolf woman that shows up in the mirror there. We have to go in and we have to turn out the lights. And if we concentrate really hard, we may look, and this woman in a burnous shows up in the mirror, and her name is Mary Wolf, and she's going to have these bloody scratches on her face. And she may reach through the mirror and put bloody scratches on your face too." And I said, "So why, Judy? Why are you doing that?" And she said, "Well, I don't really want the scratches, but it sure is a lot of fun." So that experience just kind of encapsulated for me the fun and the danger and the excitement of being a pre-adolescent kid,
Yeah.
and especially sneaking off during an official meeting, a Girl Scout meeting. And she wasn't really going to tell me or anybody else there about it, because it was like choking games in a way, that things that you might do just sort of spontaneously with a few friends. You weren't going to tell the adults who were in charge. You
Mhm.
might get yourself in trouble. They might not like it. But that was just a magical moment for me, because I learned that folklore activities, rituals were happening even during my Girl Scout meeting, where I was just concentrating on, the cookie sales, the plans for the camp out. And meanwhile, they had their own things going on. They were going to meet this wolf woman in the dark in the
Oh
bathroom
my
down the hall.
gosh.
That's so cool.
That is really cool.
Yeah,
No, I'm
yeah.
glad you liked it.
Some people in chat saying, oh, okay. Well, someone says, yeah. So comparing it to Bloody Mary, but it's like a little new twist. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's cool.
It is. It's essentially the Bloody Mary. And Janet Langlois, who I mentioned
Mm-hmm.
before, wrote an article, Mary Wales, I believe, and You, Myth and Ritual Subdued, all back in 1978, about that whole process and how much it meant. And then since then, there have been studies of Svart Madame in Scandinavia and other names in other parts of the world. It's a very widespread ritual that is very exciting to people. It's not just for girls, it's for boys too. And there's all these different variations in different regions. And it continues. My students now all played Bloody Mary. Their kids will probably play Bloody Mary.
Mm-hmm.
It seems we might ask ourselves, why do people want to do this so much? Was Alan Dundas right when he said it's all about menstruation and girls talking about blood? I don't think that was all that was going on with Bloody Mary. I think there's a lot more to it than
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
It's interesting, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. So, Libby, you've seen the show many times. I don't have to explain. I think you know what's coming next at the end of your interview. So if you hit the view stream button in Discord, you'll be able to see, like we do for every guest, we have a tier list pulled up for you. Like we say every week, tier lists are so cool. We love them here on Folkwise Live because, they come from video games, but they also help you, describe and rank everyday life. And this week, we've gotten supernatural for you, but we're going specifically to something I believe you are the expert on. And basically, we went through chapter 1 of Haunted Halls, and we made a tier list out of the campus ghost stories from the first chapter of your book, Haunted Halls. So, on a scale from S to D, S being masterclass, D being barely passing, I'd like you, if you could, to rank the ghost stories that you wrote about in your book. I know they're a little small, but I'll kind of pull them for you. And when we pull them, can you give a brief description of them for chat?
Sure.
Cool.
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
I believe this first one is a statue. Or no, let's actually start here. Let's actually start here because I think he can make a guest appearance. And this is some people taking a selfie with Dooley. Is Dooley still there?
I certainly am.
Ah,
I'm very pleased and proud to be featured. I've been waiting and waiting. Thank you.
hello,
Yeah.
Dooley. Huge fan.
Yes. Want me to say a word
Where-
about who Dooley is, about his
Please
history?
say a word about Dooley.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think I'm not sure exactly where I'd place him in the rating, but he's definitely one of the best established campus ghosts ever. I think from the late 1800s, there was an article about him that appeared in an Emory University magazine, and the idea was that he was a student who had drunk too much and died of alcoholism, and then his bones became an anatomy professor. And so this kind of ridiculous story became the spirit of Emory, and now they have a mascot who dresses up as Dooley. And now there can be female Dooleys. It doesn't just have to be a guy,
Mm-hmm.
and they can be of different ethnicities. And the tradition associated with him is that on Dooley's week, Dooley can go from class to class and dismiss your class. It used to be that Dooley had a water pistol and squirted water, but now because of unfortunate shootings, instead Dooley writes class dismissed on the blackboard. So it's one of
Nice.
my favorite stories.
So is
Definitely
that
his.
going right into S?
Right into
Is that top
Tier?
tier?
Yes,
Is that top
yes.
tier?
Top tier. I would definitely
Top
put that
tier.
top tier. Yes.
Next one is the striking image of who could that striking image can only belong to Daisy Williams.
Oh yes, I thought it was a little blurry looking, but I
Sure.
thought that had to be Daisy Williams. Yes, the daughter of Deanna Williams, the founder of Sweetbriar College, and her grave is on the hill at the top of the Sweetbriar campus. And students talk very matter-of-factly about the spirit of Daisy being with them and stealing their towels and putting their cars in neutral and making them roll down hills and other fun stuff like that. And recently, Sweetbriar itself almost went belly up, but a bunch of alumni who loved the college and Daisy resuscitated it, and now it's back,
Oh,
which
wow.
shows how strong the spirit is there.
Oh.
Yeah.
So yeah, so that's a very special story. It does not have anywhere near give Dooley a chance to say my story's better, more popular on the internet, but I love the Daisy Williams story, and I'd probably put it second tier, I think, because it's
Okay.
less well known. It's
Okay.
still very important.
This next one, I believe this is the statue of Andrew Dixon White at Cornell.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And that's right around the corner from Binghampton,
Mhm.
where I live. And the story there is that Andrew Dixon White and his best friend Ezra Cornell are both represented by statues in the old quad. And on the day when a virgin graduates, these two guys are going to step off their pedestals, walk across the quad, and they're going to shake hands and congratulate each other that a virgin finally graduated from Cornell. And this has never happened. But every year the students paint red and white footprints on the ground to show where the two old dead guys are going to walk on the day when this happens, though it probably never will.
And that's funny to me because I went to Cincinnati for undergrad, and we have the same legend about a pair of stone lions in front of the Arts and Sciences building who are named Mick and Mac. And yeah, they're going to roar the day a virgin graduates from Cincinnati.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Yes. Very widespread, told all across the United States. I might rank it lower than the Daisy Williams story because even though, I love the spirit behind these stories, I think this focus on virgins graduating is part of an older style
Yeah.
approach to sexuality that we could kind of start getting away from over time. So
Yeah.
it's not really my most favorite story, though it is meaningful for many
You
colleges.
thinking around C or what?
SC sounds good.
C? Yeah. And I can
Hmm.
also say, Cincinnati, a very Catholic city, that those lions had to have roared. Yeah. Um,
You would think.
yeah, you would think. Let's go. I'm gonna go to this. I'm gonna go to this gas station as long as you're talking about places that were near you, because I could
Sure.
not find a photo of the haunted gas guzzler. But
Oh,
the gas guzzler by Binghamton was haunted, correct?
yeah. Yeah, that's one I haven't thought about for quite a while. As I'm remembering, I think it's in the first the first chapter
Hmm.
of Haunted Halls. It's sort of I like that story because it's just a little story. It's the kind of local story that you wouldn't that wouldn't migrate very far normally.
Yeah.
But the story I'm reading here, a murder of a little boy happened there some time ago.
Hmm.
Story was that the son was murdered by his parents in front of the gas station. So now when you drive by the gas guzzler, you can see the shadow of a little boy and your tank will run out of gas. So that's even though it's a very local story, it represents a whole very large set of stories about deaths of young people that demand to be
Hmm.
recognized. And also I think in a kind of endearing way that what it's like for college students being so careful with gas and money and everything, it kind of epitomizes the state of being that you tend to be in when you're an undergraduate. So in terms of rating, I'd say maybe kind of B level, not
Okay.
not top, but nice story anyway.
And I'm gonna pull this one next. This is uh forgive me if I can't pronounce this right, but this is Pete. Is it Nichiosa? From Rushry's Library in Rochester.
Oh, the construction guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This
The
is
one who
his.
fell.
This is like the I found the newspaper article. Uh,
Oh, did you?
yeah, that's what that
Oh,
picture
wow.
is. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I knew that wasn't one of the pictures from my book.
No.
Wow, that's great that you did that research. Yeah, yeah. That some ghost stories are based on historical tragedies that happened, and it's important I think that's one of the big questions that comes up when you hear a story about somebody dying tragically. How did that really happen? And in most cases, you can't document that something actually happened, but in some you can.
Hmm.
And so that matters a lot. And I think it's good that we ask truth questions. We want to remember we on the Binghamton campus, we have a story about a ghostly gardener who died when he was putting some plants around the residential community where he was living. And he's remembered and revered he's a friendly ghost, as this one of Pete would be too, somebody who helped to take care of the campus and
Yeah.
then something happened, something tragic happened. So those are important stories.
Where do you want
Hey,
this one to go?
oh, can you put more than one at a certain
Yep.
level? You can,
Yep.
can't you?
Hmm.
Could I put it at the B level, please?
Behind the gas guzzler, behind the gas guzzler, or in front of it?
Maybe in front of the gas
Oh,
guzzler.
okay, cool.
Yeah, it's historical stories. Those matter a lot.
I think I'll go from historical stories to this image of a face burned into a door. What about Condi Cunningham?
Oh, yes, that's a favorite story of mine too. That also is when I first heard it, I didn't know it was based on an actual tragedy, but
Hmm.
this was a girl who was making fudge one day, and back in the days when it was a little unusual for women to be in college. Men usually had more educational opportunities, and her hair got on fire, and she got all burned, and she died. But students say that if you look at a door in a certain way, you can see the image of her face on that door, and she's still there. She doesn't want to leave. This is a story of unfinished business.
Yeah.
Someone very, very young who shouldn't die. But it's also a teaching story. It teaches you, watch out with fire. Don't make fudge in the middle of the night. Um, don't burn your hair up. You're going to become a subject of a story, not a college graduate. So and I'd say that was the main thing I learned through all my research for my book, Haunted Halls, that these are stories that teach the living how to be
Yeah.
safe,
Yeah.
how to not end up as ghosts themselves. Even though the ghosts are fun to hear about, you don't want to be one. You really don't want to be one. So I'd have to put that at the A level, I think, the
And
best one.
does that go above Daisy?
Let's put it above Daisy.
Above
Even though, I'm
Daisy.
sorry. Yeah, sorry to have to put it above Daisy.
That's
but
fine.
I'd say teaching. There's nothing more important. Hey, I'm a teacher. Nothing
Yeah.
more important than teaching, right?
Last two. This one is Doc Benton.
Oh, right. Yes. Great that you've got a picture of him there.
I think this is from a
And so
production,
that's
like a play someone did. Yeah.
you did a lot of great research for this. I'm impressed.
Okay, I normally
Uh,
say thank the sleuths, but the tier lists are my babies.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. This is very cool. Yeah, Doc Benton, the Dartmouth Outing Club ghost, and that one I find particularly meaningful because I went to Mount Holyoke and there was a lot of dating that went on between Mount Holyoke and Dartmouth, and I it, and so it's supposed to be the ghost of a creepy doctor who would kill people and leave bite marks on their necks, and there's a lot of other details to the story, but it's an initiation story that's told to new students when they come freshman year and they go on up the hill for the Dartmouth outing club's first hike. So that's similar to the Conde Cunningham story, but I'd put it a little lower, maybe in the C rank because it's contrived. It's
Okay.
kind of made up to amuse people. It matters, but not as significant as some of the historical stories.
How does Top of C sound?
Sure, that's fine.
Cool. And the last one, I mean, you already mentioned Mount Holyoke, and that's
Mhm.
you and Wonder Woman, the two people I know who went to Mount Holyoke. But this last one is two people having ice cream with a cutout of Mary Lyon.
Oh, nice, nice. Yeah, it was small enough. I couldn't quite tell by looking at it, so thanks for explaining that. That was one of the weird and wonderful things that we did at Mount Holyoke in February, Founders Day anniversary. We would all be encouraged to go at dawn to her birthday, to her grave. Birthday or Founders Day? I'm not even sure
I think it's
which day it
Founders
was, but
Day.
anyway,
Yeah.
maybe it was Founders Day. February, freezing, everybody kind of tired and bummed out from studying too much. And we would go at dawn to the grave and eat ice cream. It was a lot of fun. I think I only did it once as a freshman. I didn't do it later. But it's like the Dartmouth Outing Club story. It's an initiatory story. It's about not just a narrative, but also a ritual, which helps students with this, small New England women's college. We got to go and just feel that we were part of something wonderfully eerie, very cold, very strange, kind of delicious, but odd, at that time of day and that time of year. And the legendary Mary Lyon is, well, just as big a figure on the campus as she ever was. People still argue about whether she's actually buried on the campus or not. I'm not even absolutely sure we know. Maybe somebody ought to
I didn't
check that
realize.
out a little more thoroughly. Yeah, but as I was saying, uncertainty is at the heart of the legend, so we probably don't really want to know for sure. It's better
Yeah.
to debate about it. Yeah, so where would I put that in this tier that you have? I might put it in D, I think. It's a nice, entertaining ritual. I was fond of it,
You-
but in terms of legend, I'm not sure how deep it really goes.
Okay, sure. All right, so here's your tier list. Congratulations! It is official from all the way, I guess all the way from on a scale from Dooley to Mary Lyon,
Mhm.
yeah, how popular is your ghost? And I have to say Dooley wins, of course, because he is still on the call, and I have to suck up to him in person. Thank you very much, sir. You win. You win
Absolutely.
again, sir.
Yes.
Yes.
I'll get drunk now to celebrate that win. Thank
Hey, I mean, we still got,
you.
we still probably have 2 hours on this, but I'll take you up on that. I'll take you up on that later if I'm ever in Atlanta.
Mhm.
Emery's in Atlanta, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is, and I've been there.
Oh, of course
That's
you
where
have
this guy
a
came from.
stuffed Dooley.
Bookstore. Dooley, small one. They had
Say,
bigger ones too.
Really, really is a
We-
cool one.
we did acquire a chat question.
Oh, yeah.
While chatting, and it's by one of our number one fans, New Guy Neighbor, who wants to know if you've ever seen The Conjuring. Have you
Ah,
seen that movie? Yes.
no, but I would love to see it.
Oh, I
I
love
heard
The
it's really good.
Conjuring. Yeah, I
It's a
love
good one.
the first The Conjuring movie. I think is great. Yeah,
I think I like
Mhm.
the first Conjuring movie too.
and I
remember seeing-
like one of the Annabelles. I like a lot. I think the first solo Annabelle movie I like a lot. Yeah.
which is like,
Those are good. I've seen those.
Oh,
Yeah,
those are the
thanks for the
spinoffs. Those are the
suggestion.
spinoffs. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I will watch I will make it my business to watch The Conjuring this summer. And thanks
Yeah,
for the idea.
there's a new Conjuring
Yeah.
that just came out, but the first one's still a classic. I saw that in theaters. Yeah.
I agree. I
Great.
think
And
that
you know,
one's really good, too.
raised Catholic, The Conjuring just hits different. Yeah. Mwah.
New Guy's follow-ups are why don't see it and do not see it.
Mhm.
New
that
guy.
Try means
Neighbor.
you should. Terrifying, couldn't sleep for months, they say.
That first one's real scary.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, yeah, first one's very
Great.
spooky.
Yeah.
So be prepared if you go. Okay, well, yeah, I think that wraps up the interview portion of this. Libby, you're amazing. Thank you for being on the show with us. Sorry the game couldn't work earlier. We were greeted again by a ghost, phantom Phasma, as we were playing Phasmaphobia. I did receive an update that it sounds like the game is up and running.
Oh, yeah?
now,
They
and
fixed
we
it?
Could try. It seems like they fixed it. We could try to stream it again, but I just wanted to give space for us to thank Libby and
Yes.
go on break.
And Libby, before
break.
you go, other than your chapter that just came out, do you have anything else you want to plug?
Ask that. I'm not writing anything big right now, but the International Society for Contemporary Legend Research is having a meeting at the end of this month. ISCLR, we all call it. And I'm giving a paper called "The Girl Who Hid: Rumors and Legends of the Spring of 2020." It was just a modest effort to chronicle some of the legends and rumors that were flying around during the pandemic year ago spring.
Yeah.
I'm so curious to see how that compares to what was happening at other colleges during that time. I don't know. I guess that other colleges might have had similar spooky stories. There was one that was kind of proto-vanishing hitchhiker story.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I'm dying to know if there were others on other campuses, but that's going to be in the next issue of Contemporary Legend.
This isn't
Thanks
really
for asking.
a legend. I guess this is more of like a. I mean, it's folklore, but it's not really a narrative. But on the out here in Salisbury, when like the president's office did like their address on like COVID procedures, just as everything was shutting down, they said, they were talking about like wash your hands. They're like, wash your hands for 20 whole seconds. Wash your hands. Like, don't just rub them. Actually scrub them. Imagine you just ate crabs. You have to get the Old Bay out from under your fingernails. And everyone just gave a nod of,
Wow.
yeah, okay, yeah. I know exactly that level of hand washing.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's really nice. Thanks for telling me about that. And there must be a lot of other things that were happening on other campuses. I think gradually we'll learn more about what this whole traumatic experience has been like for many people. Thank you all so much for having me on your show. I felt very honored to be invited. I've enjoyed this so much. And I really appreciate it.
And I want to say you've had one of the biggest audience turnouts I've noticed in our history.
Okay.
I think you're almost as popular as The Legend of Zelda. You're right. Yeah. You're as popular as Princess Zelda. How does that feel?
It's not me.
Oh, it's
It's
Dooley.
Dooley.
Of course, of course.
Dooley.
It's Dooley.
Yeah, encourage if tell all your friends and encourage them to come on the show, because we are looking for requests for people who are interested in folklore to be on the show, and send us an email, folkwise13@gmail.com.
Great.
I'll post it in the chat.
That's right. That's right.
But yeah, tell your friends
Sounds
and
good.
say, hey, if I could get on the show, then you can too.
Oh, we just
Yeah,
oh.
especially.
See, Papa's.
Well, this is so
here,
funny.
and,
This
you
is so
know,
funny because we just got 5 gift
Yeah.
subs from a viewer, including GGC and Libby Tucker. So congratulations!
Yeah.
You now
Oh,
have
alright.
premium access to
Wonderful.
all the good emotes.
Yes.
Thank you so
So
much.
Libby, you have to start posting ladders in chat now.
I will. I will
Yes,
do it
it'll be very
Thursday.
good.
Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Thanks a million, guys. I really
Yeah.
enjoyed
Thank you
it.
so
Thanks
much.
so much.
All right.
Yeah, you can go
Okay.
ahead and log out, but we are going to head on to break right now and take maybe a
Hmm?
10-minute break while we just double check Phasmaphobia and get that set up.
Yeah,
on
I
our
can't believe
And
Yeah, we tried to play
I think it's
Phasmaphobia once, and it's a game wide issue.
Yeah, the game-wide issue, and it
Mm,
was a ghost. It was. They knew that we were
Definitely.
streaming Tuesday night, so we have
yes.
officially been haunted, and we hope that we have broken the curse by having the wonderful Dr. Tucker with us to explain some
Hope so.
legends and lore. So hopefully that broke the curse. We will take a 10-minute break, and we'll see you right after for some more Phasmaphobia.
Yeah, and GG's and ladders for Libby, and we'll be on a quick
Thank
break.
you.
Quilts have had meaning to me on many levels. Making quilts helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.